Imagine a child standing right outside a martial arts studio. They're frozen, hands sweating, stomach doing flips, terrified to grab the door handle and walk into their first class. If you're the parent standing behind them, your protective instinct often takes over. You might want to pull them back or worry that they simply aren't ready for this yet. This hesitation reflects a broader modern tension. We feel we must be perfectly prepared, fully funded, meticulously planned, and entirely fearless before we are allowed to begin something new. But we have to ask if this demand for total readiness is the very thing preventing us from starting in the first place. There is a 500-year-old Korean concept for this moment, Sijak. It translates simply to the start. Sijak ignores Western ideas of preparation. It doesn't care if you feel confident or have a complete plan. It places the entire value on the raw act of beginning. Waiting for fear to vanish is a losing strategy. Real progress requires taking action while the unreadiness is still present. To see this in practice, we have to look at Texas in 1956. This was a gritty, unfamiliar landscape for a newcomer. A young Korean immigrant named Jhoon Rhee stepped off an airplane into this environment, facing an uphill climb with almost no resources. His balance sheet was bleak. He arrived with $46 in his pocket and zero English vocabulary. He had no facility to train in and no students waiting for him. Critics and observers told him that Americans would never want to learn Taekwondo. The resistance to his idea was nearly universal. By every standard metric of business and logic, Jhoon Rhee was unprepared. Most people in his position would have quit before they even began. He practiced Sijak instead. He ignored the lack of capital and the skeptical voices and began teaching anyway. That momentum built quickly. His first student multiplied into 10, then those 10 grew into thousands. Soon, diverse groups of Americans were training outdoors, practicing the very punches he was told no one wanted to learn. Because of that initial unready step, there is a Taekwondo school in nearly every American town today. This nationwide empire grew from one imperfect, fearless start. This brings us back to the child waiting nervously outside the dojo. That anxiety indicates that something is going right. It is the physical sensation of starting. That child is crossing the same threshold Jhoon Rhee stood on in 1956. Every black belt in history began in that state of paralyzed unreadiness. You'll never have enough money, nor total confidence, or a perfect window of time. Nobody is ever ready. Champions start anyway. That is Sijak.